sprayed beer all over myself. That worked out great. We're back. Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
We are back talking about our most entertaining episode. Chris, you drinking the same beer?
We were back to talk about... I'm just kidding. I'm not going to repeat
Okay,
everything.
Jesus Christ. I was going to lose my mind.
Fine with you. Yeah, so what do I got here in my hand? I haven't had this beer in a while. My brother's been fond of it lately. Good old Victoria.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Mexican beer. Very drinkable, very crushable.
Yeah, totally fine.
Not good, not bad.
No, it's like Soul. I put it like Soul adjacent. Like I like Soul. Soul's fine. Like I'll have a bucket of Souls anytime, or like a 32 of Soul. That shit's good.
Yeah, Pacifico, all that.
Yeah, like it's all very drinkable. Yeah, for sure. I am drinking. I don't know if you've had this AleSmith's Tiki IPA.
I have not. That sounds interesting.
It's weird.
Is it a collab or a mainstay kind of?
I think it's a mainstay. It's got to be brewed with coconut though, because it's coconut as fuck. Oh god, the lighting in here is not helping me. Oh, here we go. Let's see. The latest brew in our ongoing Hop Right series. Galaxy hops, Aloha hops, and fresh coconut. Yep, that would explain the coconut taste. It's very coconutty. It's all right. I don't know. I'm not the biggest coconut IPA fan, but it's pretty good. I would put it on par with who is the coconut IPA people on Clarence Boulevard that are no longer there? They're on my fridge behind me.
Council?
I just can't remember. Nope. They have a place in OB also.
Kilowatt.
Thank you.
Oh, did they end up leaving the?
I think they left that location. Okay. I mean, I would assume because it was already gonna get sold anyway. So I'm guessing they left it early, but I'm not positive.
Sucks too because they had that cool little tiki room thingy.
Yeah, they just built it, man. I remember hanging out there while the cool lesbian chick was building that place. I was hanging out with her girlfriend in the front while she was building it in the back, and she just kept saying "Oh, they're putting in some game stuff or whatever," because they kept trying not to give away what it was gonna be.
Yeah.
But yeah, that place was cool. I went there a whole one time before it closed. I also got sick as fuck, but that's because I went bowling. R.I.P. to bowling.
Oh, does you say because you ate at Tommy's across the street? I'm like, well, that checks out.
No, I did. I did go bowling at the bowling alley across the street though, and that place is sus. Hey, wait, but we're not any of that. We're talking about MMA podcast, Chris. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, speaking of sus, who is the imposter on this list? Just kidding.
Well, wait, is there one? There's
not really.
I was gonna say, I think there's the one that I didn't give a fake one on.
On brand with the whole thing.
No, I figured. I mean, to be fair, I've been hiding some fake answers in some of these lists, but this one doesn't have one. This is our most entertaining episode. It's gonna be a lot less serious than our last one, I would say. Chris, how many of these have you listened to? Do you know?
So I listened to Heavy Hands, episode 305 with Kyle McLaughlin.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Formerly of Bloody Elbow in the Fight Site, or maybe
formerly of Bloody Elbow, founder of the Fight Site,
founder of
head of the vaping scooter gang, as we like to refer to him.
I've seen Heavy Hands 312. I've seen CME that one Power Hour. That's it.
I think. Well, so to be fair, I think those three probably stand out as ones that probably need to be on the list, right?
Yeah.
The Kyle episode is fucking great. The only thing about the Kyle episode is a lot of boxing talk. But I still think it holds up because it's really good. MMA Depressus, Never Back Down. Wait, what was the other two? Oh, you had your CME rewatch, right? For Elite XC?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what was the other one?
Heavy Hands 312. That was the Fury Wilder one, right?
No, Fury Wilder was Kyle.
Oh, that was Kyle. Okay, what was 312 again?
Here, let me look at my other notes that I got here, because I have notes on notes on notes. This is how this show goes. I fucking hated taking notes at school, and now all I do all day, every day, is take notes for this fucking podcast. Episode 312 was the... Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, 312 has to be on this list. Shit, I don't know, man. We might... I don't know. We might have to have some hard discussions. I'm going to put these all back down here, and we're going to have some hard discussions. So, I just realized what these are. So, 305 with Kyle is great. What was the other one we had? The Elite XC rewatch is really good. That's Chad and Ben hanging out talking about or rewatching Elite XC Heat, which had who was on that?
I mean,
hold on, I got it right here.
I might. God damn it! I fucking should pull this up. I'm just blanking.
I definitely have it right here. I don't have it right here. Oh yeah, I do. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, that's right. Lil Ass Ninja Hua fought Benji Raddick.
Yeah, Jimmy Lennon Jr. sounds like a ring announcer impression from a robot.
Yeah, the anti-Bruce Buffer, I believe.
They said someone commented, Jimmy Lennon Jr. couldn't get me excited about sex. You had Murilo Ninja Hua versus Benji.
Oh, that was Lazy the Savage, by the way, is who said that.
Yeah. Was it Benji Raddick?
Yeah, Benji Raddick.
Then it was either Ben or Chad talked about they met Benji Raddick's girlfriend, who was clearly like an former porn star.
Yeah.
But she was super nice, so that's what matters.
She was also riding a cart of beers he was pushing through the hallway after he left them. Yeah. He stopped drinking with them the night before, and as he was leaving the next morning, he saw her riding a cart of beers through the fucking lobby of the hotel. That's pretty good. Also, I believe Gina Carano versus Kelly Cobalt was on that, and this was also recorded right in I want to say this was like August or so or maybe earlier than that, actually.
Oh, I wrote it down. Maybe. It was October 4th, 2008.
No, but I'm saying when they recorded this.
Oh,
because this was literally the last moment Gina Carano was likable. This was literally it, because this was before all the COVID shit started. Like, or not before it started, but before she started, like, Gasper knowing herself.
Oh, I see. So they recorded this,
I should not refer... When I say she Gasper knowed herself, I should not. I meant the time ruins everything part, not the, I don't know, any of the other parts. I didn't mean she hallwayed herself. Anyway, we should move on. Let's see.
So Benji Raddick, they talked about his corner. They said, was that Lorenz Larkin and Dan Henderson? I couldn't tell if it was Lorenz.
How about how Hulk Hogan shows up cage side?
His daughter. And then they said, would you believe us in 2020 if we told you that Brooke Hogan is like 32?
Dude, I can't believe. Yeah, she's a year older than I am.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
Oh yeah, Roy Nelson versus Andrei Arlovsky was crazy.
It was a whole thing.
And then I like how Gus Johnson, who's been the main CBS guy for the NFL, he also used to do Madden. He's good at hyping shit up, but they said they think Gus Johnson thinks jiu-jitsu could be anything.
Yeah, well, these things happen in MMA, Chris.
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, Karen Bryant with the cage side interviews that are very awkward.
Yeah, Jake Shields and Paul Daly was on there.
Oh, that was a heck of a fight, huh? I believe the phrase was Jake Shields waddling into Mount.
Yeah, and then of course the main event being Kimbo Slice against Seth Petruzzelli. They said Kimbo Slice, shout out to interesting chest hair, how he just shaved just half of his chest and left it on the left pec.
Sure. People are weird. People do weird shit in MMA. Shout out to Josh Berkman. Yeah,
no glove touch from Kimbo. And then, of course, Seth shocks the world, as Gus Johnson would scream really loud.
Also, the best part is how they figured out you can watch Karen Bryant's mind get fucking blown in the background of that finish. Dude, it's so funny to watch it. I've never caught that before, but she turns into the... What's the... is it classic painting is? Rapper, no, right? What classic painting is that with the open mouth and the?
Isn't that Van Gogh called like Starry Night?
Yeah, no, it's not Starry Night, but it is Van Gogh. It's like the Screamer or something like that. It's not that, but it's something like that. But yeah, she literally does the fucking. It's crazy. It's very funny. Yeah, no, that is absolute. I think that has to be on our list, right?
Yeah.
It is a really, really funny episode. Okay, here is the problem. We can only have one Heavy Hands episode. I'm making that rule for some reason.
That's fair.
I feel like having more than one Heavy Hands episode, it does a disservice to the variety of this answer. And as much as, because honestly, we could make it a Heavy Hands list if we wanted, or a co-main event list if we wanted. Like, and I feel like that doesn't. I feel like we should pick one. And god damn it, as much as I love Kyle MacLachlan's episode, as well as Saram's episode 300, which we should mention, which is really good as well, where you recap 246. I thought that was hilarious. What was it? I hate having to dig through notes while I'm trying to talk, especially for this kind of thing. I don't have it in front of me, and I'm having trouble pulling it up. But anyway, I really like the Saram episode. Kyle's episode was hilarious. The problem is so much about Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 1 that I don't know that we included for that.
That they recapped.
Was it 2?
They recapped it because they talked about how much Tyson Fury beat
the fuck out of
Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, and also the all of the awesome. God damn it, Kyle's so fucking funny with the all the jokes about the
well, they said
having the heavy ass gear. You got notes on that?
Let me pull it
dude, because it's legit. What we should give some credit to it before we keep moving on, because it's one of the funniest things ever.
Kyle's like, which excuse is worse, being I broke my back spinal or my costume's too heavy?
Yeah.
I was like, damn. Yeah, that's actually a good one.
No, it's, also, we should not discredit how fucking hard Kyle clowns on Connor at the beginning of the episode for being late and just ruining. Kyle does my favorite gimmick every single time he's on a show, where he breaks the format of the show because he, like, it's one of the things all my favorite people do. Geo is one of these people who does this. Dune does this a bit. These are guys from, I don't know, the Corolla podcasting world. A lot of my favorite podcasters, Anderson Cowan is another guy. When they go on a podcast, the format becomes their Mike Carano, the format becomes their podcast at that point, because they just can't stick to a format. And Kyle is all this shit with Kyle, like, not only fucking with Connor, but then also being like, and also this is the part where you play the intro and you hear the fucking, oh, if you want to donate to da-da-da, or if you're a listener who, if you think you're one of the influencers, and those of you who think you are know who they are, all that stuff. It's so good. So I do want to give credit to it. That being said, I think, honestly, in the Kyle episode is too much talk about boxing to make it in a top
I agree,
3,
and
but
I like.
God damn it, is it funny though?
Like O'Connor's like, well, clearly, Kyle, you and Phil have the same accent. And I'm like, go ahead and say bright lights, and then Phil's like, bright lights, and then Kyle, bright lights. He's like, sounds the same.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. Kyle sounds like the lead singer of Anti-Nowhere League if he didn't turn out to be like a giant piece of shit who everybody hates.
So fucking
dude, how are you gonna sing about sucking old man's cocks when you're a kid, and then later go on and be like, yeah, Trump, bro? Like, what?
No, that means it checks out.
I guess, like,
yeah. Oh boy.
He's fucked a sheep and he's fucked a goat. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
So what?
Boy, fucking cunt. Man, it's such a bummer. I loved Anti-Nowhere League when I was growing up. Anyway, yeah, everybody sucks and time ruins everything, as Gasper now says. Speaking of which, we will come in the near future have a review.
Watch that movie.
Yeah, we will. I promise you guys. Not our Sunday episode that we have planned, hopefully, but this next upcoming week, Chris and I will do that, and the fucking Adam special. God damn it. Not excited about it, but I kind of am. Anyway, let's see. Okay, so the Heavy Hands episode 300. Also, we should mention Saram guested. He even jokes about how he's literally standing on a razor scooter in the center of his room while recording the episode. Really good episode. They talk about Holly and Rocky Pennington somehow being even more boring than expected. Connor and Cowboy being even like exactly. I think their whole thing was everything turned out to be what we expected, but just slightly weirder. Like Connor and Cowboy with the shoulder strikes, or like Holly and Rocky being somehow even more boring. And then Connor has a weird bit about being into the movie The Gentleman. I don't know where that came from, but it was good. But I think, the one we have to move up is the Heavy Hands episode 312 with Jordan Breen. Holy shit, dude. Okay, first off, full disclosure, Jordan Breen is my favorite person to ever record an MMA podcast. My favorite MMA podcast that's ever existed is Collapsed MMA with TJ Santos and Jordan Breen. I feel like I've been very clear about that throughout time. Chris, you've listened to it. It was one of the greatest shows that's ever existed. Also, I should say, I don't know that it's the fact that Jordan Breen is known to take a sip of booze here and there affects my love of him. It might. I will go ahead and fully put that on disclosure. But number one, if you get Jordan Breen on a podcast, I'm always down. But if you get Jordan Breen on a podcast to actively watch fights in real time, I'm sold. And I should even say, Connor somehow fucked this up to where, well, someone fucked this up. I don't want to put it on Connor because it could have been any one of the three of them who had a recording problem, but one of them fucked it up enough to where they actually lost the Caro Parisian versus GSP fight, in which I'm sure we would have heard the best Jordan Breen rant, one of my favorites, which is about how Joe Rogan doesn't realize that Caro Parisian is going to win until the last 15 seconds of that fight. It's one of my favorite Jordan Breen.
That was the one where we talk about where legends were made, right? Or where the breakout
well, no,
fights?
it's literally it's literally Rogan saying Caro Parisian's about to win this any second for
I remember seeing that
for like 14 minutes and 30 seconds.
I remember,
and then at the very end,
I think it was Habib versus Gleison Tebow.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely hilarious. And if that wasn't even on there and it was still that good, I mean, it has to be in my top three. Jordan Breen in general is one of my favorites. They talk about Phil's Twitter handle actually coming from an old Jordan Breen live chat back in the day. That's where Evil Greg Jackson. Yeah, that's where that comes from. They talk about Habib versus Kamal Shalroos and Aldo versus Franco Nogueira. And I don't even feel like I need to even justify this beyond saying Phil McKenzie, Connor Rebosch, and Jordan Breen watched fights in real time that you can queue up with and listen to. I feel like that is self-explanatory as to how good it is. So, that is absolutely in my top three. And I think it needs to be in ours, right?
I agree.
All right, so here's where it gets tough. So Fan Fight, episode 4. Have you heard Fan Fight?
I have not.
So this is Danielle Riendeau, who is formerly of Vice Gaming. She was with Austin Walker and all the team over at Vice, who's on like the gaming side. She did some awesome work over there. I'm a huge Austin Walker fan and a huge Danielle Riendeau fan. And she eventually moved over to Fanbite and started a podcast called Fan Fight, which I believe we talked about in the past. But her and her co-host LB Hunk Tears, I believe is her handle. They essentially both come together, and LB. So this podcast, I should say, first off, is no longer happening. It ended this year, or at least it's on pause or on hiatus because of they both started feeling not great about the status of pro wrestling and MMA in 2020 after all the fucking horrific things happening in pro wrestling specifically. Some MMA, but especially pro wrestling. So I should give that disclaimer off top. But this episode, so what they would do is they would come together and LB would bring a pro wrestling match, which Danielle is not at all been into pro wrestling, doesn't know much about it. And Danielle would bring an MMA match, and LB doesn't know much about it. And they kind of show each other it. They both watch it, and they talk about both of them. And it's just good old-fashioned, like, good-hearted, feel-good content about, like, just people feeling good about liking things. And it's one of the... If you guys want to just feel good about stuff, this is the show to watch. That being said, they watched two of the most bloody things I've ever seen in my fucking life in this episode, but they are also just so sweet and happy about it. The pro wrestling match they watch. Chris, go ahead and pull up YouTube real quick.
Yep.
While I talk about this, I'm gonna have you go ahead and watch. Go ahead and pull up Necro Butcher versus Samoa Joe. And just go ahead and jump into the middle of it and watch the bleeding. So they talk a lot about this and how it's like it's the pro wrestling match that LB gives to people who, like, she's like, if you're going to get somebody into pro wrestling and you want, like, a super brutal wrestling
I just
match.
skipped it. It just said Samoa Joe gets a knockout. Hold on, let me back it up.
No, you should do if you can find the full one, but
oh no, I found it. Oh dude, this dude's bleeding a lot.
Oh yeah. You see the flap the flap coming off his head?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of the most brutal wrestling matches of all time. Also, as LB,
and obviously this is real wrestling. This isn't WWE.
No. Well, it's not WWE. It's like
I mean, it's real as it's
local.
It's real violence.
No. It's fake as shit.
Or it's just fake as fuck too. I can't tell.
No, it's super fake. It's just regional.
Oh, never mind. I just see it.
It's just regional fake.
For a second, when I looked at it, I thought he actually got kicked in the face.
Oh no, he probably did. Like it's half like that. He was in like they were like it's work shoot kind of stuff, you know, where they're like literally beating the fuck out of each other.
Or no, what I mean is the injuries are still real, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can see the flap.
I thought you were
his
saying
head.
The injuries are fake too. I'm like, well, no, it's fake as it's scripted.
Well,
Sorry.
I mean, the injuries are never fake in pro wrestling. They're just.
Let's see. How'd that dude get that flap of skin? What did he get hit by?
I think it was a guardrail.
Let me see.
Also, you should look at the floor because it's disgusting as LB notes. But as you guys can tell, as Chris is looking at this,
oh, there it is. Holy
it's very fucking uncomfortable to watch and very violent. And it's. I don't watch a lot of pro wrestling. Like, I listen to a lot of pro wrestling podcasts. Well, I listen to one, The Laps Fan, and it's the best. But I don't watch pro wrestling. I don't care about pro wrestling really at all. But I really like this show. I think it's a cool concept. And she brought that match, and I was like, holy shit. And so, Chris, I now need you. I now need. I now need. Go ahead and pull up Fight Pass and pull up Yulia Stoliarenko versus Lisa Versosa, which is the Invicta fight. If you get close to it. If you do VRZOCA, you should be good. You can probably see it. And then you can flip to the middle of that thing. So Danielle brought, arguably, the second most violent women's fight of all time to...
Say the name again. Danielle what?
Just look up Versosa. VERZOCA. Versus Yulia.
Lisa Versosa versus I see Raquel. Oh, Yulia. There we go. Yulia Stoliarenko versus Lisa Versosa.
Yeah, go ahead and jump to part of the way through that, and you can just look at that while I'm talking. Okay. So this was the same weekend as Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Wei Zhang, and this was the second most violent women's MMA fight I've maybe ever seen, or it's got to be up there. Definitely one of the most bloody. It's fucking insane.
Oh, I remember.
I think I made you watch
this. I just remember seeing the after picture. And I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like axe wound type shit. And it's
There was that one PFL fight from last year with the two gentlemen fighting were bleeding all over the place, and they had to call it a draw because there's
no,
too much.
you're thinking Cage Warriors, Nicholas
Oh, it was
Dalby and Ross
Sorry.
Houston. I want to say.
So
I think it was Ross Houston, but I might be mixing up names. I know it was Nicholas Dalby for sure. Yeah, that's the most insane fucking the one where Mark Goddard just starts going, Jesus fucking Christ, this is insane. It's the craziest shit, but no, absolutely. The fight that happens between Yulia Solyarenko and Lisa Versosa is wild as shit. One of the most gritty performances you'll ever see by both women. They just absolutely lay it out there, and then the way that LB and Danielle are just, this is the first like very very violent fight LB has ever seen. Her like a real violent fight for especially on the women's side that she's ever seen, and she's just like so inspired by how cordial they were. Like they would break at like about how they break so clean in between rounds, and how at the end of it they were like bowing to each other and super respectful.
yeah, they're just like exchanging like trading jabs.
Yeah, and you can literally hear LB and Danielle tearing up as they talk about it, because they're like, so, oh, it honestly makes you tear up a little bit just talking about it. It's one of the coolest podcasts you'll ever listen to. It is very much a like new fan kind of feel to it. I will say that right out the gate. Like it's like Danielle, while she is like a practicing jiu-jitsu player and like competing even, and very well versed in jiu-jitsu, or well, I mean, compared to fucking me or a lot of people off the street, or like even people in the sport, like she knows jiu-jitsu, and she's very deeply involved in it in New York and stuff, but it's just something about this show is so special, and I really think the fan fight podcast, but also just the stuff that like Danielle and all those everybody's doing over at Fanbite, it just has such a different feel than all MMA coverage that I've ever seen. It honestly feels so much more like what Waypoint and Vice was doing with Austin Walker, like, and of course it makes sense because Danielle was part of that, but like, man, it's so refreshing to see that kind of coverage in MMA because you don't see it. So
Yeah.
Okay, I have absolutely
I'll let
blown
you choose
Danielle
one
enough
here.
right now, so we can keep on moving on. Let's see, Luke Thomas episode 27 was one of them, but I'm not even gonna. It was good. Doesn't stand out. MMA Depress Us. Never Back Down 2. Okay. You know, we're going to circle back to that one. Our Fight Podcast episode 100 was really, really good. It absolutely stands out as one of my favorite podcasts of the year. It had Fernanda Proches, Chuck, and Nancy Kidder on it. I mean, Chuck Mendenhall, I should say, and Nancy Kidder. That's a killer lineup, and they're just talking about not only the year, but just kind of lamenting the athletic and the way that went, and like, I don't know. It's just a real feel good podcast that I really enjoyed. MMA Depress Us episode 50 or 54 Holiday Edition Part 1. This was a lot of fun. Chris, this is the one we just talked about recently, right?
Which one? Say that again.
Episode 54, 54 of MMA Depress Us. The one that had John Volante versus Maurice Green and shit that we just talked about recently. I don't know if you saw that one.
I believe I didn't get that to that one, unfortunately.
Oh man, this is the one where John Volante is literally, because they have yellow lighting in the apex or wherever it was filmed, and John Volante is like sweating and dying on top of Maurice Green before he gets arm triangled from the top. It literally looks like
a terrible fight.
Because of the yellow lighting, it looks like he's literally leaking olive oil. It is.
I mean, he's Italian, but I didn't know he was.
I mean, that was part of the jokes, but also they weren't wrong that that's what it looked like. It was hilarious. Let's see. The only other ones I have is the co-main event Power Hour for the Alaska Fighting Championship. Their journey into the Alaskan Fighting Championship. Their first episode they did for that. That's one of the purest, like, fun MMA experiences you'll ever have watching a card. Like, if you just want to have a good night, like, crack open a 40 ounce or, like, smoke a joint and put on the Co-Main Event Podcast Alaska Fighting Championship episode and just enjoy. You're just going to have a blast. It's impossible to not have a good night doing that. I don't know that it necessarily makes the top, but good God, is it hilarious. And then the Body Lock Ryzen 26 intermission show. All I'm going to say is Pat OJ legit wore a cup of noodle soup, like a costume, that whole motherfucking time. Sweating through it, talking about pro wrestlers from YouTube. It's just good goddamn times. And if you don't like it, I don't think podcasts are for you, bruh. Because it's good goddamn times. So, the Body Lock Rise of 26 intermission show, number 1 and number 2, are fucking hilarious. I think our top 3 has to be the Elite XC rewatch, Heavy Hand 312 with Jordan Breen. I think it has to be MMA Depressus, Never Back Down 2, bro. And I'm having a real hard time not making this the winner be Never Back Down 2.
Yeah, go for it.
Well,
I know we did the movie. I never listened to their commentary, which I'm sure is better than what we did.
Really, really funny. It's really funny. It's like, it's fucking very good. Here's my arguments against. Okay, so here's why Heavy Hands 312 can't win is because they didn't get Jordan Breen yelling about Cara Parisian, or Joe Rogan saying Cara Parisian was gonna win up until the last 10 seconds. That would win if they got it, but since they didn't, okay. But that Elite XC Heat rewatch, it's pretty tough. Do you have an argument for why Elite XC Heat should win?
No, but only because I didn't see MMA Depressus commentary, so it's not fair for me to technically vote. I've only seen one of them.
Okay, but give me like a scale on how much you enjoyed the Elite XC one.
Out of 10, I'd say like a solid 8.
Okay, that's not enough to beat MMA Depressus Never Back Down
solid.
2. So, the MMA Depressus is our most entertaining episode of 2020 for their Never Back Down 2 commentary with Connor Rebush, Phil McKenzie, and Zane Simon. I mean, honestly, I feel very good about that. And then runners up, we have Co-Main Event Power Hour for Elite XC Heat Rewatch and Heavy Hands episode 312 with Jordan Breen.
So then, congrats to the winner, of course.
Yeah, big congrats. And that is, God damn it, that's one of the most fun,
next up
one of the
we
most fun
have
categories, I'm not going to lie.
Best New Show.
This is going to be an interesting one, man.
The nominees for Best New Show are Come On Now, The Fight Site.
Hold on, let me rearrange this doc so that I can get it in one shot. Sorry, I'm trying to get it for you can keep going.
I'm all for
You're
formatting.
good. You can keep going.
Best New Show, the nominees are Come On Now, The Fight Site MMA Podcast, Fan Fight, Crooklyn's Corner, What the Heck with Mike Heck, The Bash, Line Movement MMA Betting Show, Shots Fired, Broaden Horizon, Tangradome, Best Camp of My Life, 1-2 Punch, Fight Night Picks, Early Stoppage, Body Lock Rising Intermission Show, and Writing and Fighting.
Yeah, and so this is in order of when we talked about them throughout the year. So I basically pulled this list in order of when while I was going through pulling all the new shows we talked about. This is how we got to that. Also, here, you guys want to see something fun? Let's see. Let's go to new shows. We talked about in the year 2020. We listened to 81 new shows. Okay, so of these new shows, again, this is in order of when we talked about them. So it's going to be... Are there any of these that stand out as a must? Like, if you were to pick one as something that immediately needs to move up to you, what would you pick?
I'd say the Bash. I'd say
Go one at a time. So the Bash.
the Bash.
Okay. I'm wondering, like, I'm trying to figure out the best way. Should we go through each of these, or
Uh,
I'm trying to, because I
mean,
always
you
feel like
listen to, dude. I've listened maybe like
you've
a
listened a
quarter of these.
lot. I bet you've listened more of these than you think you have.
I'm sure. I'm just kind of brain dead right now, trying to figure out which ones
Fair
I've
enough.
listened to.
So I think of the ones that stand out to me. Well,
I'd say after that, for me, it's a fight at 100%.
Yeah, well, the fight. Okay, I'll just go ahead and
I
move
mean,
that up right now. The Fight Site MMA
kind of
podcast,
have to.
and I specifically chose the Fight Site MMA podcast just because between the Fight Site shows, it's hard to like. I didn't want to lump them all together because otherwise they'd obviously win if we just lump every new Fight Site show in 2020 together. They would all just win by sheer volume and quality reasons. So it felt unfair. So I tried to split them up and pick the ones that I feel like we talked about the most and that we had the most impact in what we day to day covered, or covered more often. So I definitely think you're right on that. Some of the other ones, I mean, we should start talking through some of these before we get to those. You know what? Let's move one more up and then we'll talk about it. Well, we should start talking about it actually. Come On Now MMA podcast. It is one of the best shows when it comes to just straight journalism in the sport. Day to day, I don't know that it's necessarily something like I listen to every single one of them. It doesn't stand out to me every single day or even necessarily once a week. But I always feel more informed by listening to Trent's show. That being said, I don't know if I can call it the best news show just because, I mean, fuck, man. This where it comes down to, it's so subjective with all this bullshit. It's so hard to pick some of these because, is Trent's show one of the most informative of all time? Absolutely. Is Trent asking some of the hardest questions every single day? Absolutely. Is it something that I think people need to listen to every single day? I think it would be good for them. I don't know that it will hold up in one-to-one quality against every single other one, but I do think it's some of the most important stuff, which is why we have the other categories. So I guess I kind of answered my own question there, right? Let's see. Fan Fight, Chris, I feel like we talked about. I love Fan Fight. I don't think it holds up in new show, and it's no longer active, so that's going to be that for that one. But I do love Fan Fight, and I hope it comes back. Kirkland's Corner. Chris, you listened to Kirkland's Corner, I think, once or twice, right?
I know what that is, but I'm always reminded.
Steffi Haynes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I've listened to it maybe a couple times.
Yeah, it's her interview show. It's really good.
Yeah,
I think she's only put out 8 episodes though this year. So I think just off of volume, I think we have to probably exclude it for the top recognition. But god damn, it is every single time. It's really good, especially her recent one with G from the Wocast. I mean, I love Gina, and honestly, I love Gina, but almost as much as I love Gina and Steffi, I love their interactions just as much on Twitter. I think they're fucking hilarious together, and this was a great example of that. So I hope they do more of it, because I think they are a lot of fun on mic together, and they should figure out something to do with that because I think it'd be very cool. I feel like the sport could use that kind of thing. I feel like Steffi and G should absolutely do something. Actually, now I'm talking that through out loud. What the heck with Mike Heck? You've heard a bunch of this show, right?
Yeah.
It basically is taking over the MMA fighting interview show role, and it's fucking great. My point is, What the Heck with Mike Heck is a very good interview show. If you guys want an interview show that I will absolutely co-sign all goddamn day, Mike Heck is that dude. I've been a fan of his since the Loudmouth days, and he's just very quality interviews, very by the book, straightforward. I don't mean by the book cookie cutter, I mean by the book, like just doing real ass, like day to day, asking the right questions, and like Michael ask a hard question if a hard question needs to be asked, and yeah, I'm a big Mike Heck fan. I don't know that it's going to make it to the top of new shows, but it's absolutely, honestly, I prefer it to a lot of the recent interview shows that I've heard from MMA fighting. Let me put it that way. Line Movement MMA betting show with Dan Tom and Dan Levy, right?
Is it?
It's Dan Levy. I always have a panic attack about Dan Levy's last name, so I keep on trying and call him Dan Levi, but it's Dan Levy. I'm 99% positive. Now, don't do that to me. Why would you do that to me?
I just had to do that.
I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind now. Yeah, no, it's a great betting show. It very much feels like a combination of Dan's show and Half the Battle, which like makes perfect sense. And it's a lot of fun. I don't know that it stands out amongst new shows, but shit, you know what? We should have done a best preview show this year, which we've done in the past, but we didn't. Then again, preview shows this year are weird. Now I think about that because of the nature of cards in 2020. So, yeah. That being said, Line Movement MMA betting show, I absolutely love it. But I don't know it's going to make the top of this. Shots Fired, man. Shots Fired is a contender probably in this. You know Shots Fired, right?
Yeah, I know it, but dude, I'm so fucking blanked right now.
So, oh wait,
because for me, it's like reading a lot of these. And I know I've listened to a bunch of them, but it's just like I just can't remember who the fuck is such.
Again, we've talked about 80 new podcasts this year, so these are 10 of 80. So again, yeah. So anyway, this is the show hosted by Chisanga, Gina, Mike, and Kairos, and it's really solid. You've heard them in the past, I think, where they basically have a lot of discussions. I mean, they've had interviews with, I want to say, Shayna Dobson in the past. They've also had interviews with Darren Stewart and a couple other people. And just had really interesting discussions in general about like race, and I know they've had Macy Chasson back in the day talking about like her fucking whole apartment almost fucking exploding. I don't remember if that was this year or last year.
I think I remember.
That might have been last year.
Listening to that one.
Yeah, that might have been last year, but on rate, well, I don't know. Yeah, it might have been last year on WOCAST instead of Shots Fired, but I've absolutely loved the discussions on Shots Fired. I mean, like, everything from clowning on Mike Perry and how much of a fucking idiot he is to, like, making fun of how fucking racist Dana White clearly was in the year 2020 and, like, just all the poor decisions by the company and, like, fucking Colby Covington shit. Yeah, I feel like it was just a very, very solid year for Shots Fired. And the discussions they were having, again, hard, difficult discussions that a lot of times they were making fucking hilarious, which is hard to do, but always appreciated, right?
Oh, yeah.
Broaden Horizon we already talked a lot about, so that one, I feel like as much as I love Broaden Horizon with Drake Riggs, I don't know if it's going to make a top list, but I absolutely loved it. Tangra Dome with Iggy. Oh, man, on the fight site. This is another show that I don't know that it's necessarily going to make our best new show category, but good God. Does Iggy have, like, some of not only... First off, dude's English is really good. Like, I know he clowns on himself a lot about it and, like, is very, like, self-conscious about it, but... That dude's pacing and ability to deliver sentences, I find inspiring compared to my fucking stumbling my way through everything I say. Like, I get, it's probably because he's, more thoughtful about it, and he definitely, I'm sure has to edit around, like, the, all the language barrier stuff, but, man, he has, like, a bit of a Hunter Thompson delivery that I fucking love, and he has this, like, I don't know. It's a little bit of all the fight site guys. They have that bit of like salt and like just like the dry saltiness of the fight site is some of my favorite shit. And yeah, he's a great example of it. Speaking of dry saltiness, best camp of my life, Fernando Proches's new podcast, the successor to our best podcast of the year in 2019, which was, well, actually, yeah, I mean, it's more Fernando Proches. It's more great interviews. It's fucking great.
Yeah, it's like self-degradation, and she doesn't hold anything back. She's like, I'm gonna make fun of myself, but also make a point.
Yeah, it's just awesome. Like, to be honest, It would be disingenuous for us to give it 2 years in a row to almost the same show. So I think she's disqualified on this one. But that being said, Best Camp of My Life is one of my favorite new shows. So take that for what it's worth. I'm just so glad to see Fernando back in the space. 1-2 punch with Shaq. Shaq, of course, formerly of the Bloody Elbow podcast that he had with Kajan Johnson, which was called Pull No Punches. And he now has his own show on the Fightful Network, I believe. I hope I'm not fucking that up. Called 1-2 Punch. And man, Shaq might consistently get my favorite guests of anyone in the space. Good God. That dude literally just pulls a list of my favorite people, like, for all of his guests. I'm not gonna lie. Everybody from Dan Tom to Zane Simon to Connor, like the Connor Rebushes of the world. I think Connor Rebush was on there. I know Fernando's been on there. Like, it's go ahead and look back through who's been on that show this year, and it's just a list of people we talk about it's honestly very close to our guest of the year list every year is who's on that show. So I'm a big fan of it, and I definitely recommend it. Fight Night Picks Early Stoppage. Craig over formerly of Craig Allen, formerly over with Loudmouth MMA, does that show. And with his brother, I believe. I think his brother's on it consistently. I'm not positive. I've only caught a couple of episodes, so that's going to be one of the determining factors probably for me. Just I haven't caught enough of it yet, but I really enjoy it. We talked about the Body Lock Rise and Intermission show, and then Writing and Fighting, which we've talked about a lot as well. I think Writing and Fighting has to be on this list, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, especially with the whole panel that was involved.
Yeah, and so here's my other question is, Shots Fired maybe has to be on this also. And I don't know. So here's my question is, of these, which way would you lean for a best new show? Because
I'd say the Fight Site.
Fight Site MMA podcast?
Yeah.
I think so too. Just because nobody's quite doing the kind of technical breakdowns they're doing over time, right?
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Like, a lot of people are doing similar type of content, but like, the Fight Site is very specifically chasing exactly what the fuck they're going for, and I feel like they're nailing it every part of the way. Like, with whether it comes to the guest speaking on it, whether it comes to which panel members they decide to talk on the show. Also, they just had a change up to where previously it was Danny Martin, and now recently Ed Gallo, I believe. I hope I'm not fucking that up. Is believe it's Ed Gallo that's officially taking over. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I think so too. I think for best new show, like, the way the Fight Sites come out the gates, like, if we could just name the Fight Site as a whole, I would say the Fight Site as a whole. But I think, yeah, especially the way that show is really gaining fucking steam is significant. And yeah, man, I'm into it.
Nice.
All right, so we are two best clip artists, which means we are taking a break, and then we are going to burn through these clips. Chris, good news. This is going to be a lot of fun and very little work for us other than just laughing. So This is going to be a lot of fun. So we will be right back for this. And then Chris is going to take a shot of an energy drink or something. I don't know what. We'll figure it out. We'll be right back. All right. We are back into this. And
yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are. Chris, what are you drinking on? Because I'm drinking still on some AleSmith Tiki IPA, which is coconut infused.
Asahi.
Ooh, Asahi. And I heard you were doing some illicit Mexican drugs in your face.
It looks like dip, but it's not. So what it is, it's essentially, I think it's like a pit from like a prune, some sort of fruit, but in Mexico, they coat it with just a fuckload of salt. And essentially, it's like, you just dip it, and it's just a shitload of salt, and it just goes well with beer. So the whole right side of my mouth is just salted and not necessarily numb, but imagine just getting salt packets and just pouring them in the right side of your mouth and keeping them in your cheek. That's basically what it is right now.
Yeah. So you're saying the right side of your mouth got a whole ass vibe right now?
A little bit, yeah. And based on my reactions, you'll be right now it's hitting me pretty good. But,
perfect. Well, the good news is
it makes it more fun. I'm awake now because my brain is concentrating. What's all this saltiness?
Well, and the good news is, so Chris and I decided on the break, what we're going to do is we're going to record this segment. We're going to record our non-MMA related recommendations. And then we're going to come back and do our top 10 here in a day or so. You guys will all see it at the same time. It was going to happen that way regardless. But Chris and I will be a little less fucked up for it, and it'll probably be more entertaining that way. So that's our plan. So we will have that out probably Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere in there this week.
Yeah. Sounds good about right.
I mean, by the time you're seeing this, it's all in the same video probably. So, but good news, we're going to be a little bit more sober in the near future. However, before we get to that point, Chris, we're going to do one of my favorite segments every year. It takes the most work. I have to listen to every single clip we pull, which was like 50 clips this year, as usual. It was more than that, actually. Then I go through and I decipher our favorite ones, or the ones I think are the best of MMA podcasts that we use as either an intro or break clip. And I have 12 listed for us. So what we're going to do is we are going to cue these up. And you guys are going to hear Chris, you have only, if you have heard these at all, you've only ever heard them like right as we are about to start an episode. Because I don't send you these ahead of time and you don't look for them after. So some of these you might not have even heard, depending on the episode. So I'm curious to get your live reactions, and that's why we're doing it this way. So we're going to start with our first clip. These are, by the way, in order of I pulled these. These are the top 12 clips that I found for either intros or breaks, and I pulled these in order of the release throughout the year. So this is in order of our release schedule. So our first clip is If the Shoes Fit, Joe Rogan Burned, E2 Reek. From, I believe this is episode 145 of our podcast. So, Chris, you ready to play this?
Yep.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Speaking out wood and mist, for those of you who've wondered, what has happened to If I Did It?
Ha ha, he remembers.
That's right. Like Pepperidge Farm remembers. I put a note in here.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Now, the genesis of If I Did It was a show resolving PR kerfuffles in the world of MMA. I noticed over time that as we were reporting on the PR kerfuffles of MMA, as I got closer to the WME IMG acquisition, there was a hope that the sport would transcend the gutter of sports that Dana White had put it in. When I was doing research for Finding Out You're Descended from Fredo, which is on Ozzy.com, and you can see pinned on my Twitter page at AlexiOld on Twitter, one thing that was hauntingly familiar was this family refrain that the Bostons have, my family, which is, you take what I give you. And I noticed that while I was creating content for If I Did It, the motto and motif of Dana White and the UFC was uncannily similar. You can see how they handled the Greg Hardy situation, right? You take what I give you. Conor McGregor, 3 sexual assault issues. You take what I give you. He's going to come back. They allow him to main event on a pay-per-view. You take what I give you. He's going to fight if he wins against Cowboy. He will get a title shot at 155. Fighting at 170. You take what I give you. Having a show that is focused on PR kerfuffles for an organization that has no need to resolve any PR kerfuffles because the fans, the media, they take what he gives you. The pay-per-view model that they set up, doesn't matter how many buys they get. ESPN will take what he gives them. So, as far as that content is concerned, MMA content will exist if it does the way it did when If I Did It was originally created. A hybrid of MMA and of the non-MMA world. Until the UFC gets to a point where the PR lessons and the content has more respect for the fighters, in which there actually is some kind of concern of tri-level chess, unless it has some kind of interest again, it will be relegated to the lost battalion of if the shoes fit. If there's an issue that comes up, that piques the interest, that's fine. But in terms of coming up with content each and every week for an entity that gives 0 fucks about PR, that gives 0 fucks about its fighters, that gives 0 fucks about its fans, I will not take what they give me.
There you go. Well said. Mic drop. In, out. You're over. Fuck it.
I zoned out for a while. Can you repeat that?
All right. So, strong early contender for clip of the year. Holy fucking shit, dude. This is the first clip we pulled that stood out to me while going through them, and oh my god, does it stand out for a reason, right?
I mean, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's so goddamn true. Just with
on every level,
it's on the wavelength of what the UFC is putting out there. You know, like
that was
like
also
Alex says we take what they give us.
That was also that was like in January. Like that was before all this shit. That was before all the trash cards.
Because they mentioned Cowboy versus Conor.
Yeah, it was right after that.
Fucking 170.
Yeah, it was like just after that shit. So, man, I'm gonna go ahead and star that one as a top 3 already.
Yeah, that
I
has
don't
to be
think
enough.
I don't think it can be argued that it's not. So, Chris, I want you to go ahead and cue up number 2.
Yep. So this one looks like number 2. I'll
so here, I'll go ahead and cue it up for you.
Right one.
So go ahead and pause it and put it to 0.
Oh, and every time, by the way, I load up, it's already at 0. I need to press
Perfect.
play, so it's
that
good.
works well.
So this one looks like it's
this
from
one is
Heavy Hands 305.
Yeah, Heavy Hand 305. Phil Sadness Hedges because of MMA.
Liked by the sound of violence.
I don't know. I'm 100% sadness hedging.
Okay.
What are you fucking talking about? I mean, you'd be happy if Joseph Benavidez won, right?
Oh, absolutely.
When was the last time MMA did something that made you happy?
Yeah, I know. I'm leading myself astray.
This is a sport where we are looking forward to Holloway Volkanovski 2, in which we will see the end of Max Holloway, and Cejudo Aldo.
Don't bring that up.
And you're like, oh yeah, this hard-working flyweight champion of the people holding on in his decaying division, he's gonna get his chance. He's gonna get his fairy tale, and no, he's gonna get killed. He's gonna get killed, and it's gonna be horrible.
Okay, Phil McKenzie telling the future. He was 1 for 3 on predictions in that, because I don't think Aldo ever got murdered by Cejudo. And what was the other one?
Oh.
There was another fight that was going to happen that didn't actually pan out. But, oh boy, did Phil nail the sadness hedge for Joseph Benavidez in the harshest of ways?
That's what it was. Yeah.
Man, did Joseph Benavidez get killed not only once but twice, and did Phil call it both times in the harshest of ways?
So, yeah, that was a good one.
It's
Because
really
he was.
good.
Clip number 3.
Yep.
If I had it lined correctly, is from Luke Thomas live chat episode 27. Why won't UFC give up on UFC 249?
Oh, really? Is it 27? I thought it was 49. Let me pop this and find out the number. Oh, you're right. It is 27. Why did I have 49 written down? That's rare. Oh,
Maybe
you know what?
you thought it was 249 because we was talking about.
No, that was me. Yeah, that was exactly what happened. Actually, you totally nailed that. Yeah, so this next clip is Luke Thomas live chat episode 27. Fighters trust experts, but only in fighting.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Here's the other part too. You see all these fighters lashing out, and jiu-jitsu guys, you know, if someone makes a comment about how they do bad in a fight, well, you never fought, you don't know anything. Okay, fair point. There's infectious disease experts who've been doing this kind of stuff with mathematical modeling longer than you've been alive. We don't have to respect what they have to say. Like there's this demand for reverence for expertise without conferring it on literally any other form of expertise. And it's like no one needs to be taken 100% at face value, but having a little bit of deference for that is kind of important, right? I mean, I have to listen to coaches when they tell me you're wrong about this, you're right about this, and here's why. Probably because they know more. I'm reasonably fight literate, but they're experts. I should listen to them, right?
Luke Thomas sounding like a reasonable adult in 2020. Everybody hates that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just...
Nothing really more to be said that he's just being very clear.
Yeah, not clip of the year material, but good God, is that just a very reasonable take from a very reasonable person?
Yeah.
And people who dislike Luke Thomas, I feel like...
They're just afraid of what they don't understand. Or they don't want to...
Or a lot of them have very, very right-wing views that are not happy about Luke Thomas.
I'm afraid of Cobra.
But... Good God. Yeah, the Luke Thomas hate, I feel like, is it's very politically driven. Because that seems like a very reasonable take from a very reasonable person. But then again, maybe I just associate motherfuckers with being reasonable because they understand science. So, okay. Now that we've moved on from reasonableness, Chris, why don't we listen to our clip number 4, which is the MMA Depressed Us 51, about the only reason you would ever strike with Paul Buentello. You ready for this one? Because it's a really good one.
Liked by the sound of violence.
You can tell who has dad issues by who chooses to strike with Paul Buentello.
Yes, absolutely. I love that theory.
Like... If you immediately see Paul Buentello and want to throw hands at him,
yes,
that's a sign that you maybe have unresolved issues with your father.
I wholeheartedly support this theory. And yeah, like all guys with those kind of daddy issues, they will never get over them. Paul Buentello will beat that ass just like he always does.
Exactly.
Okay, so I feel like I like that joke a lot more than Chris, because Chris doesn't realize that Paul Buentello is infinitely wrestleable. And so if you're trying to throw hands with Paul Buentello, it just means
Yeah, if I'm honest, I don't even know who the fuck Paul Buentello is. I'm probably...
Oh my God, Chris. Okay, all I'm going to say is that's a great quote, but if you don't know who Paul Buentello is, we should just keep on moving on, because I have way more... I have a backyard thing to show you here pretty soon. That's going to be great. I hope you have your barbecue.
Is Insane Clown Posse involved? Just kidding.
I mean, dude, if they could be, they would be. But honestly, Tank Abbott might have scared them off. Okay, here we go. So, number 5. Our clip number 5. We have to keep on moving on, or else we're never going to finish this. Number 5, the Co-Main Event Podcast, episode 401, the Non-Disparagement Clause. You ready?
I remember this one.
All right. Yeah, this one is this one is probably important. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Liked by the sound of violence.
To be an independent journalist covering this event, I would have to think you would draw the line at a waiver like this.
Yeah, okay. I know a little bit about it. Let me take you a little bit through the for people who care about this kind of stuff, about how the media sausage is made on this one. I started hearing about this waiver last week on, I believe, Thursday of that week. A journalist at a different MMA website who I know, and he doesn't want me to divulge who and everything, because he was calling me up kind of in confidence to be like, hey, have you heard about this waiver that the UFC is asking everybody, even media at the event, to sign? And I hadn't heard about it at that point. And he started telling me about it and saying, like, their media organization was trying to figure out, like, their representative basically saw the clause, saw the waiver and was like, wait a minute, I'm not signing this yet. Went back to his bosses asking for guidance on it. And they were all kind of thinking about what to do, had some communication back and forth with the UFC. But the suggestion was basically like, hey, if you want to come to the party, you got to sign this thing. And if you don't sign the thing, then you got to go home.
Arguably one of the most condemning and also enlightening clips we have, probably.
Yeah, easily. And it's fucking embarrassing, too. Really think about it.
Well, hey, that's you coming from a background that's not at all involved in... Oh, wait, what's your degree in?
I forgot. It's collecting dust.
Yeah. Well, to be fair...
in that profession, it doesn't matter.
To be fair, that profession is collecting dust right now.
I mean, it's really not much else I could really say on that, except that there's no one's hiring. Let's just put it that way. And if they are, you're not making any money.
Yeah.
Because no one has money, so there's no point. Not to say that I do it for money, but also can't be broke. So, sorry.
Well, and also, I mean, the gig you're working at, it's got its benefits, right?
Well, cheers to that.
I'm saying. Oh, wait. Here. Cheers to that. But anyway, yeah. Man. It's telling that shit is allowed to play out like that right now. And, it's condemning. It's not condemning. It's an indictment on the entire industry, and it always has been. But it's never been so fucking clear. Like, even Luke Thomas had like scoffing, fucking embarrassing responses to that shit, where he's like, "Oh my god, you guys signed fucking contracts saying that you're not gonna say anything bad about the fucking sport you cover." Like. We are on to number 6, right?
Is this the Severe MMA episode 260?
Yeah, it sure is. And god damn it, is this a great quote. It is disqualified, and you guys will figure out why halfway through it, but it's a fucking great quote. Fortunately and unfortunately, Shawnee Podcast disqualifies this, and you guys will see why. Chris, you ready?
Yeah.
Liked by the sound of violence.
And a bigger problem even with that as well is this fucking complete and utter flouting of the rules, the social distancing rules. The people just completely and utterly flouted, like they didn't care, and that's coming from the top down with Dana White. It really, really is. Like it makes you think that everything they're doing is just nonsense, and we know it's nonsense. Dana White doesn't give one single fuck about these people. He doesn't care. He wants to earn his money from ESPN. They're putting on these cards because they get their money from ESPN. ESPN are happy to go along with it because they don't have someone from the state who cares. You know, Florida don't give a shit. The Athletic Commission were happy. The Athletic Commission jumped out the second Jacare failed the test and said, "Oh yeah, we're happy. You know, all the precautions were taken. Let's go ahead with it." There's no adult in the room here. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. I think my friend Pulver over in the the Sound of Violence podcast uses that phrase again. There's no adult in the room here. They don't give a shit.
That's great.
So why it's obviously disqualified is because we get mentioned in it, so it's not fair to actually use it as a quote. But god damn it, if Shawnee Podcast didn't quote me at the end of the, although
you talking about collusion, B?
yeah. Well, to be fair though, man, I appreciate that he did use me at the end of that because it's the right phrase to use. And I feel like that way about a lot of modern politics in the United States. I feel like that about most MMA managers in the United States. But yeah, no. So obviously, I'm disqualifying it because we get mentioned. But god damn it, is that a good quote from Shawnee Podcast up until he mentions us? And so I want to mention it because I think it's a great fucking quote. But yeah, obviously, I'm disqualifying it because it's not fair. Chris, I hope you're ready to pull up clip number 7.
It's already ready to go.
Dude, this is honestly one of the, I will say, minute for minute, like second for second, joke for joke, this is the strongest contender we have. I'm not sure to win, but I'm just saying for length of time versus quality of joke.
This is Ortiz versus Evans.
No, well, yes, this is Ortiz versus Evans. 1 is the episode 53, but specifically they're talking about Matt Hughes versus Renzo Gracie. So you ready?
Yep.
Liked by the sound of violence.
My honor is my loyalty. Can you imagine being so insightful as to come up with a quote like that? So meaningful.
Also,
give up, Renzo. You can do it. You can do it.
You
Heinrich, you gotta stop a fight.
Don't let Heinrich down.
Heinrich would never give up like this, apart from he did because he committed suicide.
Come on, Henzo, you can do it.
So for those who don't remember, Henzo, a prominent figure, MMA figure in the Gracie clan who was tweeting Heinrich Himmler fucking quotes. Fucking... I'm going to go ahead and just put a star right here.
Yeah.
That's
pretty clever.
That's good that's that good shit. Okay, although I say that right now, we're going to have to listen to this next one, Chris. Number 8. This is, again, I say this a lot in this list, but this is maybe one of my favorite quotes of all time from the Heavy Hands podcast. Good God, is this a very clever reference and also just a very well spoken piece of audio from Phil McKenzie and Connor Rebush. So you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Liked by the sound of violence.
I mean, this was just phenomenal. This was like Argo, where acting was so good that it kind of affected the real world. I mean, not only was Ivan Kutalaba like such a good actor that he convinced a referee to stop a fight.
An MMA
he was such
ref.
a good actor that he convinced an MMA referee to stop a fight.
To stop a fight standing.
I know. Can you imagine what kind of presence this guy has as an actor?
Put this man on the stage. He's so compelling.
Yeah, I mean, with just a few motions of his body, he can accomplish what a regular person getting completely buzzsawed and smashed into the fence by hundreds of punches and going face down in a pool of their own blood, like, can't do. He can do it just by wibbling. Like, what a remarkable man.
It really just...
And he's then so insanely upset at his own acting skill afterwards.
I imagine Kutalaba in a movie puts on this tear-jerking performance, and then he's just running around the theater screaming because he realizes people are crying. No! It was fake!
Alright. That's on the list. You have any argument for it not being on the list?
No, let's just be on it.
I mean, it's just too good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Chris. I mean, goddamn it, that Argo reference was the acting your way into reality. Oh my god, that is. It's honestly that's gonna be hard to beat. Okay, Chris. I just no context. This is number 9.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Yeah, I think and I don't think fans or in the media realize the precautions the UFC and Bellator have taken. Especially Bellator's doing a great job, but dude, what the UFC did, they were the first one. They were the Rosa Parks of this pandemic.
I remember this. Oh, this is so upsetting. That is so fucked. Like, what? Like, dude.
You know what? Just for context, I'm going to go ahead and look up Below the Belt 200, and I'm going to go ahead and look up when that was released.
I guess.
So that way I can be a responsible journalist, unlike most people. That was in September 7th of this year.
Wait, I was going to guess it was like back in February.
He said that in September.
Oh, no.
He called Dana White the Rosa Parks of COVID in September of this year.
Talking about civil rights, B?
Oh, my God, man. Oh, my God. Okay, we still have clips. Okay. Sorry, I got... Oh.
Alright. This next clip is clip number 10 of 12.
Sorry, I got so distracted. I'm completely lost. I'm trying to find where we were even at.
Episode 419.
Wait, do you have my notes?
No, because I remember I told you, bro.
Oh, you're right. Number 10 is CME. Yeah. All right, perfect. You ready for? I'm so glad you moved forward because I was about to have just a fucking meltdown. You ready for number 10 with Coleman Event 419?
Yeah, I'm helping you out, baby boy.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Just watching the clips of seeing like Justin Gaethje at this indoor Trump event where nobody's wearing masks, and you're like, God damn it, you have a fight scheduled, young man. You have a goddamn big fight coming up on the books, man. You want to be out here at this indoor, does the name Herman Cain not mean anything to you guys? Don't screw around and put this stuff in jeopardy just so you can go be a visual prop for Trump. Are you crazy? I don't get it.
Well, Dana White was there, right?
Yeah.
So Dana White is going to go to this indoor Trump rally in Nevada, wherever it was, and then this week he's going to go back, be inside the bubble, leading up to Woodley versus Covington, and you would assume not wear a mask or not wear gloves and shake everybody's hand and be there for the weigh-ins and the stare-downs and all that stuff. Really? He's going to do that? He's going to go be in a huge crowd situation where nobody's wearing masks indoors, and then he's going to go back into the quarantine bubble? How does that work?
I think you know how it works.
It doesn't work. That's how it works.
I think that is a contender.
Yeah.
What do you think?
100%.
I mean, that's... Jesus Christ. I didn't hear anybody mention that before, but... That's a rough one. Speaking of rough ones, man, this one is maybe one of the most sad of the group, and it... Fuck, man. It doesn't feel good. And we should all feel bad as a community for it. So, you ready for number 11?
Yeah. Intro from writing and fighting, social media, and MMA.
Liked by the sound of violence.
I find myself wanting harm to come to strangers because they can't behave online. And I don't want to be that kind of person. I don't want to sit here wishing that other people would just die or go away just because they're jerks online. But it's hard not to feel that after a while. You just lose faith. And I didn't want to do that, and so I departed for that reason. And then, in addition to the fact that I felt like, you know, I'd gotten to a certain point in my career where this is not something I need to do on the side. But then, you know, one of my MMA fighting, one of their most popular posts ended up being my retirement clip on Instagram, which I didn't realize was a thing. And the comments proved why I left, right? So half the comments were like, who is this? I don't care, blah, blah, blah. And then the other half were like, she lost my respect. And it doesn't matter that she's a good photographer. She lost my respect when she said Black Lives Matter. And I thought, well, this is the reason why I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. Man, it's so hard hearing one of the most important people in the industry explain why the industry drove them away.
So I'll say this: the biggest irony in this, I'm not trying to make anything ironic out of this. The irony in this is that these stupid motherfuckers that try to find some way to chastise her or make fun of her in the way is because they don't agree with something she said, right?
Well, it's because they're children. It's because they're children. They're uneducated children.
The irony is they think of her as some sort of, let's just call it what, snowflake, right? They're like, okay, well, she has.
You know what? I feel like all that is disingenuous. We need to start calling these people what they are. Number one, they're fucking racist, and number two, what they are is they're uneducated. And really, that's the problem we have in this country, and we need to just start saying what it is. They're uneducated. Because educated people don't talk like that. Alright, well, you know what? We got one last clip, Chris. And,
so I have right now queued up Writing and Fighting. Do you already play this?
Yeah, we sure did. That was the Esther Lynn clip.
That's what it was. Okay, that's why I was confused. I wasn't sure if that was that was labeled MMA Fighting or Writing and Fighting. Okay.
Sorry so you have number 12 last. You ready?
Liked by the sound of violence.
Like, beyond what I've just said about people beating the shit out of each other, people fighting, people smacking each other around for money, what do you think makes people gravitate to combat sports? First of all, whenever they're marketed, whenever they're promoted, whenever there's a big fight that's coming up. Combat sports is about narratives and stories. The biggest fights in the history of combat sports have been about narratives and stories. To bring back Rumble in the Jungle, the Thriller in Manila. Oh fuck! Even the fucking Conor versus Khabib fight. People took the promotion as unbridled truth and let it dictate their impulses. This is the power narratives and stories have over people. And while a lot of the time combat sports make for a nice, interesting, compelling, dramatic story, there are also real issues at their core. Real people beating the fuck out of each other for money.
Really solid, right?
That's a really good point, because as boxing will probably always be just the dominant forefront focus on just combat sports in general, no one's gonna forget Conor Khabib and the whole boiling point of that.
Well, and just like his the strength of the end of that, of being like, combat sports will always be about, at the end of the day, people beating the fuck out of each other for money. Like, god damn, Iggy is
modern day gladiators without just the killing part. It's simulated death. That's your favorite ones, but
yeah. But
your death, brother.
Man, I love the phrasing from Iggy on that. I think it's super strong. So, man, okay, I guess the way we do this at this point is we have to try and narrow this down, right?
talking about narrow. Just kidding.
Yeah, I'm talking about killing Brendan Schaub, bro. Yeah, no, he's not on this list. The dumbest man in MMA is off the list. That's literally, by the way, my note for number 9. I'm not gonna tell you who number 9 was. But I'm gonna tell you my note for number 9 was the dumbest man in MMA, and he's off the list. Boy. Do any of them stand out to you as something that needs to be on there 100%? I feel like the if the shoes fit has to be on that list.
That has to be on there.
It just has to be. Like, it's such a strong speech. You take what we give you thing. Like, I think honestly, I think that
if the shoes fit. Esther Lynn's got to be on there because it's important about what's going on.
I think so.
In the country.
Yeah, I think so.
And other than that, fuck, what was the Tyson Fury one? The heavy. Was that
Wait, which
clip number 2? Fuck was that? I'll just play it.
That's Full of Sadness Hedge about about Davidson about obviously. Joseph Benavidez is gonna die because.
Oh yeah, no.
Which, by the way, is so savage but so good.
Let me see the Luke Thomas one again.
The non-disparagement clause is pretty strong. Oh yeah, they disqualified. Severe MMA is pretty good. Ooh, the Henzo Gracie one is pretty solid. Oh, you know what? No, it's co-main event, right?
Which one?
Co-main event.
Oh, yeah.
Or is it Tengridom?
Tengrodom's the last one. You got to put that on there.
You think Tengridom instead?
So I'd say co-main and Tengridom are the last parts of the finalists.
Well, we already have 2, so we should only go with 3.
Oh, that's right. Excuse me.
Because we have the If the Shoes Fit, the Joe Rogan burned about I won't take what you give me, which I think it has to be on there. The Esther Writing and Fighting, the Iggy Tengridom about MMA, and then the Dana Trump and the Bubble co-main event.
Yeah. So we need what, 3 of them?
Yeah.
Fuck. I'd say
honestly, all 4 could be on there.
I'd say If the Shoes Fit, Writing and Fight with Esther Lynn, and I'd say co-main. Tengridom barely misses it.
Yeah.
It's good though.
Yeah, just because of the Dana White bubble thing.
That was bad.
And like, honestly, no one's even still talking about it.
Gives a fuck.
Yeah, I think you have to go with that. Okay. All right. So that means that our. Oh wait, we need to find a winner. It's If the Shoes Fit, right?
Yeah. 100%.
It's If the Shoes Fit. It's
just the base model of what the UFC is. How it just it views. I don't want to call it the consumer, just a fan. That's what it is. Because that's what it is. When you buy a pay-per-view, you're a goddamn fan. It's sure you're consuming it, but you're already committed. And
also
basically your balls are being put in Dana's hand.
Well, and the UFC chose to no longer be reported on by the best in the business. Is a lot of the decisions they've made in the last year or two. Because honestly, people like Alexi and people like a lot of Esther Lynn, a lot of these people are the best in the business, and they're actively recruiting against them with their actions. And Alexi and Esther are just 2 of a million. The Josh Grosses of the world who have left and come back and left to come back, and many others. MMA deserves better, and I hope it gets better. Because
So as well.
we don't treat the best in the industry like they should be, and that's part of why we do this, is trying to give some recognition to that. So that is going to be our episode of the year.
Yep.
Or clip, rather, I should say. And holy shit, what a clip. Also, the clips in general this year were fire as hell. I will say. Everybody's on point. So we're going to wrap this here. We will be back with our second part here in a couple of days, I think. We're going to sober up a little bit.
We'll recap tomorrow nights, or just say Pacific time.
Yeah, so we're recording
the pay-per-view.
Yeah, we're recording this Friday night prior to the Connor Dustin pay-per-view. So we will do a recap episode like with our normal schedule. Yeah.
We'll reconvene when you see us next time, but we're going to recap UFC 257, which is Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor 2, and the co-main event being Dan Hooker versus Michael Chandler. We will also, I believe what's still on here, we'll do our best non-MMA podcast, I guess.
Yeah, we have our best, like, basically honorable mention, like, non-MMA shit that we just want to give some love to.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll also do our top 10 podcasts of the year.
Yep.
At some point, you and I... We'll do the Adam Hunter special. You will, and I'll do the Irreversible movie.
That's right. That is my plan for that. Is
both
next
mentally
week.
Preparing ourselves for that because they're both going to be terrible.
Yeah.
I did look at it's no spoilers for me, but just a cliff notes or just a quick summary of what the fuck Irreversible is about. And I remember it's not even necessarily what it's about that bothers me, is that there's like audible shit.
No, but we talked about it, and it's
I
think you'd be good.
But either way, whatever. I'm probably part of me told me trying to convince me if I should be sober for it or if I should be fucked up. I don't really know what to do. I guess it doesn't really matter.
I would say start off towards sober and then adjust as needed. That would be my plan.
This is probably how it's gonna go.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh God.
Oh no, 100%.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna be like this. Fuck this. And
No.
just be like this.
Yeah, no, at about. Here's how it's gonna go, Chris. You're gonna be like, oh, that's a uncomfortable siren and flashing light thing they're doing. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, it's not that bad. Oh, but that's.
I'm like, oh, I have vertigo now.
No, that's it. No, next time that you're like, that's an aggressive shot. They probably didn't need to be that. Oh, Jesus! Someone said that's the director that just did that. Oh, okay. Well, Jesus. At least we got to the. Oh, what are they doing with that fire extinguisher? Oh
Okay,
no!
So can I tell you one thing I read about the director that was like that checks out? A quote. There was a point.
Is it about him fisting himself?
No, I didn't read that. But
Okay.
I'm glad you said that because now I'm curious about that.
Okay.
He said there was a point where I was, as the filmmaker, we had trouble lifting the camera up a flight of stairs, so I had my film crew give me a bunch of cocaine. Once I had all this cocaine, I felt like a superhuman, and I carried that camera up the stairs like a motherfucker. I felt like a superhero. That was like a real quote. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, that sounds like Gus Pernell quote.
I was like,
100%.
wow, good for that guy, I guess.
Yeah. No, he is a certain type of human being. Okay. Well, now that we have said all kinds of dumb shit that I might edit out, it sounds like a good place to wrap, Chris.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, we will be back here shortly, as in within the next day or two, probably. And we will get into all of the craziness with the top 10, as well as some of our honorable mentions that are not MMA related, which I'm excited to get into. So until then, enjoy the card. We'll be back with our reactions, and cheers. Much love.